Hello and welcome to the Met Office 10-day trend. There's certainly plenty to keep us on our toes over the next week and a half. We start with the next couple of days, a fairly typical autumnal changeable weather pattern. One day sunny, the next day rainy. But then there is the potential for something very wet and windy to arrive, especially through the second half of the weekend into the early part of next week, before there are strong signals into next week of something turning a little bit drier and more settled. What's going on? Well, as always, it's helpful to take a look at the really big picture. There's been a large area of high pressure dominating across Scandinavia. That's been stopping our weather from changing too much, certainly earlier in the week. But now low pressure systems are starting to push that high back, and we've got some typical autumnal bands of wet and windy weather swinging in to end this working week. But then we need to take a look right across the Atlantic for events that may affect the UK as we go through the course of the weekend. 3 areas of low pressure, but not ordinary areas of low pressure. These 2 in particular are tropical weather systems, Maria and Lee. This one is a more typical cold air feature. These tropical systems have a lot of warmth and a lot of energy mixed in with them, and that adds to the complication. Anyway, more on these systems in just a moment. First of all, let's get back to the rest of this working week, because although Thursday starts a bit drab in the east, it should soon brighten up. And for most of us, it's a fine, dry, bright day with some September sunshine. There is, though, another weather system moving in and a weather front approaching Northern Ireland. This band of rain tied into an area of low pressure that swings across the country during Friday, bringing a spell of wet weather and at times some blustery conditions too. Then there's a small little ridge of high pressure you can just about make out for Saturday before potentially we get more wet and windy weather on Sunday. So Friday sees that rain moving across. Saturday sees some sunshine, but there will still be some showers around before there's the risk of the wet and windy weather coming on Sunday. And this is the big question mark at the moment, just exactly how things will play out with those tropical systems as they approach the UK through Sunday and Monday. Now, by the time we get to the weekend, they are becoming X-storms. They're drifting away from the tropics, so they're losing their heat source. They're no longer tropical systems, but they are still low-pressure systems, and they do still have energy and moisture. Now, the big question mark is how all these 3 systems, what was Maria, what was Lee, and that normal area of low pressure with the colder air interact. And this is where, at the moment, there is quite a bit of uncertainty. If you run through the system, this is the sequence, I should say. This is one suggestion of how the computer models just all sort of merge them all together. Now, there's always more uncertainty when you've got tropical systems because they add energy, but there's the potential for them to move and form one big area of low pressure, or they could remain separate and bring individual spells of wet and windy weather. Either way, it looks as if there will be rain swinging across the UK, and with the number of isobars on the chart, potentially it could get very windy, especially on Sunday night and into Monday. After that, well, strangely enough, all the systems tend to move away, and then we're left with northwesterly winds. They could be very strong on Monday, it could be very blustery, but overall it's a day of sunshine and showers and a cooler, fresher feel. And once those systems are out of the way, then it does look as if, as we go through next week, high pressure will start to move in and dominate across the UK. Now, although there's a lot of uncertainty about how we get here, it does look as if there's a strong signal for high pressure to move in across the UK next week. So it's one of those strange scenarios where we're more confident about the weather next week than we are into the weekend because of that extra energy, that tropical air that's going to be thrown in by Maria and Lee. They do have the potential to bring some wet and windy weather. So the message at the moment is stay tuned to the forecast. If there's any weather warnings, they'll be on the Met Office website to keep up to date yourself, the Met Office app, and there's always lots more on the Met Office YouTube channel.